Hey guys, here is your next love dare. Love is impossible. And it really is, isn't it? When I revamped these to work on myself, I got to this one. And all of these really caused me to take a lot of, reevaluate myself, and not just who I was or am, but who I was going to be. And when I got to doing this one, I realized it's not just impossible sometimes to love others just because of the way they've done you. Some people have done you, especially a narcissist. But for me, it was nearly impossible for me to love myself. I felt completely humiliated that I had allowed someone to have so much control over my life, and not just Bert, but so many previous to that. So many others. And I allowed them to do things to my mind, my spirit, and my body, all because I did not value myself. I did not love myself. And what I came to realize when I was doing these love dares on myself, because they really do make you take a deep look at yourself. And I realized about halfway through them that it no longer became trying to get over what they did to me, but it became a trying to heal from what I did to me. I had so much trouble loving myself that I allowed so many bad things to happen to me, all in the name of being accepted and feeling loved, because I wanted so badly to belong to somebody, to feel like I mattered, to feel like just because I was a big girl, that I was still worthy of being loved, that I still had a lot to offer someone. But I didn't see the value in who I was. I didn't love myself at all. I spent my entire life trying to just prove that I was good enough. As cliche as that sounds, it's a sad truth. And I know that it just isn't just me. Learning to love myself was probably the hardest part of the whole love dare thing. I had to find value in myself. This love is impossible is not only about loving others. It's mainly about loving yourself. and finding value in yourself and who you are. And that's the toughest thing to do sometimes, isn't it? I was about halfway through the 40-day Love Dare thing when I realized how little I thought of myself and how everything I had been through up to that point of trying to take my life happened not because of the way others thought of me, because it's really easy to blame everybody else, but it happened because of how little I thought of me. So I had to really start valuing myself. I started setting boundaries. I started saying no a lot, because I was always a yes person, because I didn't want somebody to get mad at me. God forbid someone should ask me to do something or go somewhere or watch a kid for them or whatever. God forbid I should say no. One of the hardest things I did when I first started my business, I didn't say no. I said yes too much. You know, I neglected to charge my late fees, even though it was clearly stated out in my contracts. I would let them drop off early, wouldn't charge them. I would let them bring on days when they weren't supposed to be there. I had to put a stop to all that. I started saying no to family. You know, if they wanted me to do something and I really just needed time to myself. I learned to set boundaries and I learned to say no. And that included with men. You know, I started saying, I remember very specifically a friend of mine, but I had known him for years. But we had developed this friends with benefits thing. That's a whole, we'll get on that stuff for a whole nother video, but he came over and we were sitting and talking and my knee was hurting me. And the last thing I felt like doing was any, funny business. Well, he was getting agitated with me. And then he finally is like, so what, is this going to happen or what? And I'm like, so what going to happen? He's like, are we going to the bedroom or what? And I'm like, really? By that point, I had developed some. I had grown a bit. And I thought, you know what? No. And I told him, politely, but I told him, no. And guess what happened next? He left. He got up and went home. People's true intentions with you start to show through when you start saying no to them. And when you start setting your boundaries, their true intentions, the reason they're in your life start to show. And it's sad because you'll start to lose some people. When you start to value yourself over what other people want to take from you. Listen to this very carefully. This is your life. This is your life. And you only get one go around. I regret that I was in my late 40s before I realized I'm spending my entire life letting somebody else use me, use my life, and several somebodies, not just one, for their gain, their purpose. That doesn't happen anymore. Because I realize, and sometimes you have to be selfish with your life. Sometimes you have to be. And I realized, I woke up one day, and I realized, like, this is my life, and it's fleeting. It goes quick. I didn't want to get to the end of my life and realize I never lived for me. I never did anything for me. I let everybody else use my life like I was a puppet for their gain. And I put a stop to it. That's not to say I don't still do things for other people from now and then. You know, that's just part of my personality. And it's just about being a good person. But you have to know when to say no. If I'm tired, if I just need a break, if I just need me time, I say no. I plan things now for myself. I go on vacations for myself. I take trips by myself, for myself, and it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful to take a day trip by myself, to take a drive, to go on vacation, to do things with myself, because there's nobody else I have to worry about, and I can go and do what I want. And I love being single for that same reason. You know, I mean, if the right person ever came along, boy, God would really have to knock me over the head with that one. Because I'm in no hurry. I am in no hurry to fall in love. I'm in no hurry to date. I enjoy being single. I really do. There's a movie out called it's called How to Be Single. It's been out for a while. And the movie has a really good lesson in it. And at the very end of the movie, the girl says, the main character, she's on a hike, and at the very end of the movie she says, enjoy your singledom, because one day you're going to turn around and it's going to be gone. And I am. And I have boundaries, and I have learned to say no, and I learned to love myself. Is loving myself impossible sometimes? Yeah. I am still judgmental about myself with some things, especially with my weight, which I am currently working on. And I still have moments when I don't, I'm more careful now, though, about making decisions. So I don't have as much trouble loving myself as I used to. I have much love for myself now. But I still struggle sometimes, mostly in the area of my weight and accepting that about myself, because I know I can be better. Not for anybody else, but for me, because there's a lot of things in this world that I still want to do and see. And I just know that, getting healthier is going to help me enjoy my life more. I think I'm into the best years of my life, if I'm honest with you. I have so much, I've learned finances, so I can go and do things, that I want to do, and I have more freedom now. And being single helps with that as well. I can pick up and go and do things. And I always used to look at not having kids as a curse. Why didn't I ever have children? And don't get me wrong, that's still a very soft spot with me. But at the same time, not having kids allows me, even though I have a daycare, not having my own kids allows me the time to myself that I need, that I can pick up and go and do things. And God knows my heart better than I do. So it's very possible that Him not giving me kids was His way of looking out for me in the long run. Save me from a lot of heartache, because I know parents out there will still tell you. I watched my sisters with their kids and the heartache my parents endured. Having kids is wonderful, but there's a lot of heartache involved as well. I think I'm too soft for that. I'm too sensitive for all that. It's hard enough watching my sisters go through some things sometimes. But I don't want to get too off topic here. So, love is impossible. This is what I want you to start focusing on. If you've gotten this far in my videos and you've watched all the others, focus on loving you. Not just forgiving and loving others, but loving yourself. Accepting all of you for who you are, your flaws, everything. And part of loving yourself is setting boundaries. Saying no when you feel like you need to say no. And what you're going to find is that some people will drop out of your life. Some people will just back off. Some people will try to push those boundaries and make you say yes when you want to say no. They'll manipulate you and try to make you feel guilty. Don't allow it. But you're also going to find peace. You're going to discover, it wasn't living for me at all. All of a sudden you're going to feel free. Almost like you suddenly have all this air, clean air around you, and you can breathe. And it's really freeing when you start loving yourself and setting those boundaries. God bless. And I will talk to you guys soon. Take care and have a wonderful week.